episode of Jay Leno's Garage. Once again, Porsche is the mark. You know, the fun thing about Porsche is they are the most individualized of any sports car. I don't see a lot of guys tuning and changing Ferraris and even so much Lamborghinis, but they're guys that just specialize in one make. Remember Magnus Walker, he likes the early air-cooled stuff. And then we had Singer, he only does the 964s. Well, this is a GT3 that has been done by SharkWerks. And let them tell you about the company. Let's meet Alex Sharky Ross and Dan Kennedy. Hi, guys, how are you?
Hi.
Alex, you're like the president of the company, is that fair to say?
One of them, yes, sir.
And Dan, you're?
I'm a product manager.
Product manager. And as you can see, clothes are not really important to car guys, okay? He's got his little teddy bear shirt on there. I've got my denim that I always wear. Car guys, you don't really need the fancy shoes and all that kind of stuff. But I find this fascinating. Now, you specialize not in air-cooled cars, but in the late model GT3s, correct?
That's what we're known for, yes.
Okay, primarily the manual transmission models?
Only the manual ones are our favorite. We can work on PDK cars, but they're not our favorite.
For example, when Singer was here, he does the complete car.
That's
the
correct.
whole car, that's it. But you guys will do individual things such as, if I say I just want suspension, or I just want engine work, I can have that done as well.
Yes, well, the GT3 and this particular engine, as brilliant as it is, it shares about 85% with the actual Cup car. But for the street, they've added some emissions things and softening things and more, you know, sort of drivability parts.
Right. But your cars still meet emissions.
Yes, it still runs clean. You know, our 3.9s that we've been building, they will pass through the emissions, no problem.
Okay, now you say 3.9. This comes with what, a 3.6, correct?
This one actually comes with a 3.8. The first generations from 07, 08 came with a 3.6. And
okay, and you take the engine to 3.9. Okay.
We would on those, yeah. We would bore them out, use, you know, lighter weight pistons. Even though they were larger, they were lighter weight. That was our mantra, basically.
Now, these had titanium connecting rods.
That's correct.
Right? Do you keep those? Do you change those?
No, we took some really expensive titanium rods and tossed them away and went with, you know, American Carrillo.
There you go. All right. How about that?
Yeah.
I have to admit, when I first heard of your company, and I read really good things in a bunch of the magazines, I just assumed, like most people, you were starting with the air-cooled cars, but you're the first guys I've seen that have just gone specifically for the water-cooled.
Well, the market for English guys that work on air-cooled cars is a little saturated, right? Magnus and of course Rob, the singer, we know them, we like them. We actually stop by their shop and we swap, you know, horror stories and good stories, and drove each other's cars. I mean,
did you each own one of these?
Yeah, we've owned 9 of these.
Okay. Okay.
In different flavors, colors.
Right. And this would probably be what? Is this the ultimate example of what you do?
Well,
is this the most outrageous one, would you say?
Yes, this is probably the most outrageous one, and actually, in the U.S., it's probably the most outrageous GT3.
Okay, so we take a GT3. Is it lighter?
We do save some weight where we can on things like wheels, on some suspension parts, and then the best place to save weight is inside the engine. Right. And you know, in exhaust systems that we make, we want them to sound good, but we like taking weight off the back. I mean. And
obviously, you keep the catalytic converter, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, you know, here in California anyway, if you're dealing with any car pre-1975, you can do whatever you want to it. Didn't have cats back then, didn't need it, so you can modify it, and the government couldn't care less. Post-75, especially when you get into the late 2010, 11, 12, I mean, they watch you like a hawk. So the real trick is that tuning, keeping it within the government limits and still getting all that horsepower.
The technology in this car, the crank, the billet crank that's in here, was campaigned by our friend and his company, Evolution Motorsports, that, you know, run all these half-mile events in a Porsche, and they hit 218 miles an hour in half a mile. That's half a mile, not a mile.
So you make your new crank as well?
Yeah, we have our crank with them, and it's a version of that. You know, we do all our, you know, cam work, head work. You know, like I said, the rods, even though they're steel, the tool steel, they're not titanium, they're still very light. So we want everything light. Like our crank is even, you know, 2 pounds lighter than the factory crank, which was already light.
Now, Dan, as the product guy, what is your duty?
Just a little bit of everything, really, because we're a pretty small shop, you know.
How many guys?
There's actually 3 people working in the shop part of it, and we have 2 other people helping in different places.
Okay.
Basically, I figure out what products we're going to make for exhausts, engine parts, and...
Well, you know, it's funny. When I looked you guys up, it looked like it was some huge, sort of 100,000 square foot factory because you've gotten so much. Well, no, you don't wish, though, because you can be more efficient. You know, write-ups and excellence and all the Porsche and the 911 magazines as well, and as well as some of the other ones. So, all right, let's get back to the car. Okay, so obviously this is not a factory color, right?
It actually is.
Oh,
it's
it is.
You pay $8 grand, and they say you can have it that color.
Oh, okay. And the orange as well?
Yes, the decals too. It was one of 4 in the world that we know of. Interestingly enough, they won't give me any replacement decals ever.
Really?
No, not in that color. They choose not to.
Oh, okay. Well, that's something. Okay.
But
so you haven't done any exterior work to this car?
A tiny bit. It's very subtle, and that's what we're about. We don't want to change the integrity of it.
Was this orange here?
This was orange.
Yes.
And carbon fiber?
But these, like for example, these uprights, they look like they're factory, but if you park it next to another one, you'll notice it's 2 inches taller and raked about 8 degrees. The guy who makes it, there's always this one guy behind everything. He's a nutcase Porsche car collector. He has contracts with Boeing and the government and NASA, and he produces these. And the story goes that if you get in the car, you can actually see out of the back. In the factory one, you get in the car, you can't see out the back because it's right in your view. It's nice, clean air. So you can, you know, that's good for the car.
Let's come around here because it says GT3 RS 4.1, but you said this is a 3.9.
No, that's for the Generation 1 cars.
I see.
We take those from 3.6 to 3.9.
Oh, so this is 4.1.
Yeah, we had a lot of pressure from the guys with the Gen 1 cars that bought Gen 2 cars. Said, hey guys, we love your 3.9. Can you do that to our Generation 2? And so we had to basically get this platform, tear it apart, push it, blow it up several times, blow it up some more, spend some money, and figure that out first, and then we came to this.
Is that about as far as you can take one of these motors, 4.1, maybe 4.2?
You can do 4.2, you can do 4.3. We chose not to, because what happens is the larger bore cylinders, they add more weight and the response goes. So there's different ways to get power, and I did not want to kill the character of the engine.
Well, let's open the hood and see what we have.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, everything's manual. It doesn't do itself, unfortunately.
Right.
So if you look at it,
well, you can't really see a lot in there, but okay.
No, there's some hoses, you know, things like that. But
you make your own barrels and everything, or do you bore out the existing barrels?
No, we actually replace those with steel liners. Again, there's a company in England, and my English connection. They make pistons for Formula One.
Oh, they make your pistons in England.
Yep.
All right, very good.
From the get-go, though, if you look at it, you might sort of think, okay, that's looking factory, and we want that. I mean, we don't want it, you know, having red bits here and.
So the smartest thing for someone to do would be buy a clapped-out one, if there's such a deal, because you're going to redo it anyway.
Well, there are, because people take these to the track and they absolutely bomb in them and, you know, go nuts, and then, you know, things do fall apart when you push them this hard, and that's part of the engine program too. We figured if we can't build this engine, it took us 2 years. At least we figured out every single weakness, every single service bulletin on their factory 4.0 car before it happened to them. And we basically have another program where if someone comes in with this car, they say, I don't want the engine, but I want to keep this forever.
Right.
You know, it's about 10 grand, we drop the motor, we do all the fixes, and they're good to go on the track. No coolant leaks, no cam adjusters exploding.
And you do your own custom exhaust system as well?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, is it stainless? What do you make of that?
Yeah, it's actually out of stainless steel. The original exhaust on this car is made of titanium, and it's pretty lightweight, but we can actually take about 7 pounds off the car just switching to our stainless system.
Isn't stainless heavier than
It is, yeah. Stainless is heavier in most cases, but the reason why is because we simplify the system.
Thin wall, is that what?
No, it's just less pieces. Basically, it's a smaller piece. The stock piece is designed to, you know, take away a lot of noise from the car, and we just basically get rid of a little bit of the baffling, and it actually lasts longer. The people who race these cars find that the titanium systems will actually crack and break. So by switching it to a stainless system, it lasts longer. So
Okay.
You know, so when you stomp on it there, you've got something, and then you continue into GT3 territory. So it's a little bit of a hybrid.
40, okay.
But it's really the torque that is the different factor.
What is the difference? How much more torque?
So factory and a 3.8, it's around the 320 mark. We're close to 400.
Wow.
So, and it's the area down low where these cars, they want to be normally driven, you know, no lower than 4,500.
Right.
But we have what we think is a bit of GT2 modded turbo in it down low with that extra 80 pounds foot, you know. So when you stomp on it there, you've got something, and then you continue into GT3 territory. So it's a little bit of a hybrid.
Well, we'll find out right now. Okay, as we said, the pretty much stock appearing, some suspension changes. I'm anxious to hear their exhaust system that they made. Let's put the key in, put in the clutch. Ooh, that sounds good. Let's go for a ride. Wow. Boy, it's so torque, and that's just between 4,500 and 6,000.
Yeah, and that's where the biggest change
Yeah.
is really. You know, a lot of these cars, it's a bit of a dead zone in a GT3 down low because you want to keep the revs up in these motors. And then James built the engine so it does this.
Yeah. And I know the PDK is cool, but I like having my hand on the stick, and I can feel the vibration coming up through the shaft.
That's right.
You know, and it's just more, I guess you use the right word, analog, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
touchy-feely, and it's the single mass flywheel.
Yeah.
That's from the 4.0, and so there's no dampening on it.
Yeah.
In the regular cars, they use a dual mass.
a little more dramatic than it is.
These actually do have a pretty seamless traction control system. They're
Suspension is very nice, doesn't beat you up at all.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, it's very nice. It's got electric steering?
No, no, it's not. It's not at all. The new cars do. They replaced it, but I like to feel the steering, and this is the last of the sort of, you know, non-digital steering as well. It's real Porsche steering in a modern car.
Driving something like this is very satisfying because I can feel and understand exactly what's going on at all times. I like stuff that's intuitive. I hate cars where to adjust the clock I have to get the manual, press AM, and hold the glove box at the same time. There's no reason those two would be connected to change the clock. You know, just like pull the little stem and move the clock. It's why I like mechanical watches. It's first time we've been in 6th gear, and you know, it's not intrusive at all. You don't hear the noise. Exhaust is very quiet, actually. You drop it down a couple of gears. Oh, there you go, it is. What an exciting ride that is. I want to thank guys like Dan and Alex for building cars that are just a little bit more raw than people want. You know, modern cars are so sophisticated and so good, and this is obviously a great car when it's new. But there's always people who want to take it just to that 10th tenth, just that next, or that 11th tenth. You know, making your own crank, that's going the extra mile. And boy, it's a fun car to drive, and it feels retro because everything you can feel through the steering wheel and through your hand. Yet you've got all the modern conveniences, the water cooling, and of course, satellite nav and all the other stuff. So, you know, it's I feel like I'm getting the best of both worlds. You know, you're getting the coolness of the air-cooled Porsche with the reliability and the power that comes with being a bit more modern. So, Alex, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jay.
So remember, folks, check out the SharkWerks website. I think you'll take a kick out of it. See you guys next week.
Mm-hmm.